Well, so I don't know why I decided to make this a live. I do. There's no point in lying, I guess, right? I made this alive because if I didn't make it alive and I did it as a video, I probably would delete it and edit it and so on and so forth. Whereas if I do it with a live, it kind of takes the pressure off all that. The information's already out there. The authenticity of it is kind of cemented. And I don't know. This is something that I wanted to do. This is something I need to deal with. This is something that was a project that I had wanted to jump into and stuff like that. So I feel like doing it as a live. I'm not going to be interacting with the chat very much, if at all. I just want to tell my stories and shit like that. And yeah, by doing it as a live, it stops me from being able to edit it and take out stories and paint ourselves in better pictures than they needed to be. So rest in peace to Bill Huffnagle. He is my best friend in the world, and this September will be coming up to 4 years since he passed away. So there's that. Salute to everyone who has lost loved ones, so on and so forth. So what I wanted to do, I've been friends with Bill my entire life. We got a lot of wild, crazy stories and shit like that. I'm getting older, and your brain is weird, man. Your brain is weird. Let me get this out of here. Your brain is weird in that it makes you forget things for reasons that you don't understand. Whether it's just because things are old, or whether it's because sometimes things hurt too much to remember, or whatever the case may be. Your brain is weird, man. I think that I don't want to forget things, man. I want there to be a place. I want there to be a place where all these memories are kind of accumulated all in one spot, so that I don't forget shit, man. Death is weird, man. I'm not good with death. This shit shook me. So I guess I'm just going to start at the beginning, and as they come to me, I'm going to put everything out there, and this is going to be like a dope memorial. So, like, I met him when I'm not good with dates and ages and shit like that. So if there's any inaccuracies as far as timelines go, he'll forgive me. I met Bill when I was like 10 or 12 years old. I can't remember which one it was. Either 10 or 12. I think it was 10, but could have been 12. I was a really bad kid. I met Bill when I was young, and he was working at Toys R Us, and I was stealing at Toys R Us. So like he's older than me. Obviously, you can see the dates that are posted there, which has been a point of contention a couple times in our lives. But I met him, and he was working in the video game selection, and I was casing the place out because there were Yu-Gi-Oh cards or Pokemon cards. I think it was Yu-Gi-Oh cards that I wanted to steal, and I figured why not make small talk and shit like that with one of the people who were working there. As a way to like make it seem like it's, you know what I mean? Like it's a 12-year-old kid, 10-year-old kid in the game store. You're going to get eyes on you. They're already expecting people to steal, blah, 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 blah. And I'll never forget it. So we start talking, and we was talking about, not Breath of Fire, Wild Arms. We're talking about Wild Arms, and he got stuck on this puzzle, right? And the puzzle was you had to put these statues that were colored statues onto squares that were colored squares, and there was one extra one, and he didn't know what to do with the extra one. And I told him like it was a game that I had already played, and I was like, "Oh man, you got to use a bomb, blow up the last one." And like his face lit up, and it was like, "Oh my god, I never even thought to do that. I'll never forget that. It was like so weird. I was like, "You're a grown ass man. Like you couldn't figure this." Remember, this was a while ago, man. There wasn't Google wasn't big like this. You couldn't, you know what I'm saying? YouTube wasn't a thing. You had to play the game to play the game and shit like that. So yeah, so he was like excited about that. I probably stole 35 packs of Yu-Gi-Oh cards from fucking Toys R Us during this time. And like I would talk, he would like, go out for a smoke break and shit like that. And I'll never forget it. I go back out with him for the fucking smoke break and shit. And he's like, yeah, he's like, I know you're stealing, right? I was like, what? Really? I thought I was the slickest person in the fucking world. I had no idea you knew that I was taking this shit. And he's like, yeah. And I was like, why didn't you stop me? Why didn't you grab me? And he was just like, ain't my fucking cards. He was like, I'm just happy to have somebody to talk fucking video games with, man. He's mad introverted, man. As far as I don't know any other friend that he had outside, like I'm not gonna name drop other people, because I don't know who would want their stories to be involved in this. But prior to me coming into Bill's life, I didn't know any of his other friends. Like they never hung out with us. It was always people that I brought into the circle and shit. So he made a comment. He's like, yeah, I know you're stealing and shit like that. And he's like, I don't give a fuck. And he's like, yo, if you ever want to come hang out and play fucking Wild Arms, he's like, yo, man, come hang out and play Wild Arms. I live right around the corner on fucking Castor and shit. And I was like, man, fucking all right. I don't know, dude. I'm telling you, I was a badass kid. I was just fucking wild. Mom's a fucking drug addict. She didn't fucking keep tabs on me or nothing like that. Biological father was never in the picture. I was super ahead of my time. Like, I was raised street smart. Like, my mom was real street smart and shit like that. So, like, I knew shit that a 12-year-old shouldn't know. And I spoke and I moved in certain ways that an adult should move, that a kid should never have to move. So, like, it wasn't weird that I'm talking to this guy who's a couple years older than me and shit like that, and we're talking about video games and talking about hanging out. So one day I was like, fuck it, I'm going to go hang out. I owe so much of my life to this man. So much of my life. I never watched anime prior to hanging out with Bill. I would come over there, and he would put on fucking Dragon Ball Z and fucking Zoids and shit like that, bro. And that was my introduction. We would watch that shit. We ended up hanging out every fucking day after school, man. Every day after school we would hang out. And, yeah, so he would cook. He got me addicted to fucking spaghetti and pasta sauce and shit like that. That's why I love spaghetti so much nowadays. And his mom's fried chicken was fucking incredible. And, so, yeah. That's why I started watching anime and shit. So he got me into all that. And then we would play video games and shit all the fucking time. And that was super fucking dope. And then there was just, like, huge, important, like, crazy shit that would happen in our lives together. I lost my virginity on his bathroom floor New Year's Eve. I'm not going to put her name out there. I'm still friends with her on social media and shit like that. So shout outs to her. Yeah. Just wild, like, shouldn't have been drinking at that age and shit like that. But, like, it was New Year's Eve. I believe there was some alcohol involved. I was on the fucking floor, laid out. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. This was his favorite story to tell. This was his favorite stories, I swear to God. So I'm like incapacitated on the floor. Shorty decides to like get on top of me because she was a little bit older too. She had like a year or two on me or something like that. And it was her first time. I believe we both just like decided we were going to lose our virginity that night. And like he comes through, I guess while it's happening, and he like knocks on the door. He's like, yo, are you good? And I utter those fucking words I'll never forget. And I just like look up at the door. Like it wasn't open. It was like, I'm like talking through the door. And I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing. Bro, I heard him fall through the fucking door. And he's a fat motherfucker too. So like it was a thump. I heard him fall over, dying laughing. I think we had like 2 or 3 other people in the building with us at the time. It was funny as shit, man. I never lived that shit down, ever. He would tell that stuff all... Anytime I tried to talk shit for the next 10 years, like, whenever I was trying to get on my fucking pimp shit or my swag shit, man, he'd be like, oh, no, yeah, he doesn't... No idea what he's doing. You tell him about the time he lost his fucking virginity? Man, that shit... I never lived that shit down. He never let me live that shit down. I missed the shit out of him, man. It was real crazy. You know what the craziest part is? Is, like, he wasn't supposed to die. That's the crazy part. Like, of the circle of people that we run with and shit like that, man, like, I was the bad one. I was the bad influence all the time. I was the reckless one. I was the one doing all the dumb shit. And he was just this super kind soul that never fucking harmed a fly, that always told me that I was doing dumb shit and shit, man. I would have lost that bet. If you'd have asked me who was gonna die first, I would have. It would have the odds. I'd have been the Vegas favorite by a long shot, man. It was not. It was never supposed to be him. That's the wild part. That's the super wild part. I get things though. It makes you understand certain things. When you hear phrases like "the good die young," you start to understand that shit like that is real. I look at shit like my mom's still kicking somehow. They've got to be the most evil fucking human being on the earth, and she's like fine. she's just somewhere high right now. And this dude's fucking 6 feet under for 4 years come next month. It's fucking wild, and it doesn't make any sense to me, but it is what it is. So, more story time, right? There was one time, yo. So I convinced him for us to hold a strip poker game. I'll never forget this. I hope his mother doesn't watch this video. She probably will at some point, but that's wild. So I convinced him to hold a strip poker game. And it's me, him, and I bring over, I believe, 4 young ladies at the time. We were young. I don't know how old we are at this point. We're probably only like 16 years old or some fucking, I have no idea. We were young. Might have been 18. I'm not good with dates. Forget about the dates. Doesn't matter. We decided to play strip poker. And we're playing strip poker. We're all in the fucking living room and shit like that. And, or not the living room, I'm sorry. We're in the kitchen, at the kitchen table and shit. And his fucking mom comes home early from work. And he like looks, and he's got all of us just like in our fucking drawers and shit like that, playing fucking cards. And like we see like the way that his house is, you can see the car pull up in the front, like through the front window, like through the blinds. You can see the headlights and shit like that. And you never seen 5 teenagers grab their shit so fast and run out the back door. So this is not a good look to have a whole bunch of half-naked teens running out of your fucking house with their clothes in their hand. I know, like, one of the chicks climbed up a tree in the back. Another one, like, he has, like, the back of the house had, like, a whole bunch of parked cars and shit like that. They had motherfuckers that were, like, hiding underneath the parked cars. A couple of us just took off down, man. That was fucking insane. I'll never forget that shit a day in my life. I still talk to some of the people that was involved in a lot of these stories too. It's fucking crazy. But that shit was hilarious. There was another time, I don't remember, we was talking some kind of shit. We was upstairs on the second floor of his room, and we was talking some shit. And he was like, yo, blah, blah, blah. I don't even remember how it came up. This is why I want to do this, because I'm going to forget this shit, man. Something came up, and he was like, I'll throw you out the window or some shit like that. And I was like, fuck you, I'll jump out the window right now. Like, it ain't no problem. And he's like, you ain't going to jump out the fucking window? I was like, all right, bet. So then I'm like, all right. I open this fucking window, and it's only a second story window. It's nothing like super crazy. You definitely don't want, as a child, like, I can't even imagine me being a father now with my kid jumping out of a fucking second story window like this. But I did. I opened up the fucking window, and I like put my body out, and I hung down, and I like kicked off the wall onto the grass and just jumped out of the second story window. We thought that shit was hilarious. Until one of the neighbors called his fucking mom. Somebody was watching us the whole time, right? And he gets this phone call, and all I hear, like, I heard him answer the house phone, and then all you hear is like just yelling and glaring, like, "Do you see somebody hanging out the fucking window?" Blah, blah, blah. Oh, dude, that was fucking hilarious. I don't know if this is funny to you guys. It's funny to me because I lived it, and I can like see it play out like a fucking movie, and you know the voices and the times that it was and shit like that, man. Like, that shit was fucking hilarious. We were getting fights over stupid shit. I love Bill to death, but he was a fucking pathological liar, man. He would lie about the dumbest fucking shit. I'll never forget this Castlevania conversation. So Castlevania Symphony of the Night, hands down one of the best video games ever played, right? And fucking I mentioned it to him because I said our whole relationship was based around video games and shit like that. So I mentioned it to him, and he's like, yeah, I've never played that before. It's fucking, yeah, is it good? I was like, dude, it's one of the best games ever. I go on a whole rant. And then I remember I bring the conversation up again. It's got to be 6 months later. It's got to be 6 months later. And this is back on like PlayStation 1 when we had all the individual memory cards and shit like that. And we had 2 bitches over. It was Janine and Kim. Shout out to Janine and Kim if they're still alive. They're both fucking reckless too, so I don't know what the fuck happened to them. Their lives are probably wild right now. we'll get to those stories later. We was a little we was a little older when we got to those stories. But yeah, and then like we're sitting there and he's like, "Oh, I'm the fucking best at Castlevania. I had full map percentages on it." And I was like, "Shut the fuck up. No, you didn't." And he swore up and down that he played this game and he was like the best at this fucking game. I got so mad over the fucking dumb shit, man. We didn't talk for like 3 months. No bullshit. We didn't talk for like 3 months. He would come down to pick me up from my house after school and shit like that. I would hit him up and I'd be like, "Yo, done my homework, blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm ready to come chill. Like, what's the plan for the day?" And he drove. He was older. He drove. So he would come down and grab me from like the parking lot around the corner from my house. So I was like, "All right, cool." I would meet him there. This is one of my favorite stories of all time. And it's educational. And you're going to learn something. So I guess he parks or something like that. And he doesn't have the fucking the car. He puts the car in like neutral, not in park. And he's like sitting in the parking lot, and we're getting ready to leave, and the fucking car won't start. He can't get the key out of the car or something like that. Like, he couldn't get the key out of the car. And this is where I learned and I found out that you can't take the key out of ignition of a car unless the car is in park. And he's like, "Oh my God, this is my mom's car. I'm not supposed to be taking this shit. I'm going to get in trouble. The car's broke. I can't get it to start, blah, blah." Bro, we were there for 45 minutes. We were sitting down. He had like real tears in his fucking eyes. He was getting all fucking worked up about it and shit. And then like just out of nowhere, we're just sitting in the car. And I didn't want to go home. My mom's a fucking crackhead. I didn't want to go the fuck home. So I'm just like, "Look, man, I'm down to just sit in this car until the fucking end of the world happens and you get in trouble." And he's just like, he's sitting there just like sobbing in the driver's seat looking down. And then he just starts laughing. And he looks down and the car wasn't in fucking park. And he gets like the biggest sigh of fucking relief when he puts this, like, I've never seen a grown man, I guess he was a kid then, but I've never seen a man just the whole demeanor and body fucking change. Like, he just had life brought back into him. It was the funniest shit. Someone said that the neighbors called the cops after jumping out the window. No, it was worse than the cops. They called his mom directly. So he lives in Bridesburg, which is like I don't know, it's still like a regular neighborhood. It got townhouses and shit like that. So there's like a whole bunch, like the neighbors are all nosy and shit like that. It's one of those areas. So like, yeah, they called his mom right up. And like after I jumped out of that window, I think I jumped out 2 times. I can't remember why I jumped out the second time. But after I jumped out that fucking window, man, they called his mom right up. And he's going to break his fucking arm. I'm going to get sued, blah, 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 blah. Bro, that was fucking wild. It wasn't all crazy shit too, man. We got some really good times. I got my entire start in business because of Bill. I got most of my career stuff because of Bill. So he started this job called S&D Marketing. S&D Marketing is probably the #1 most important establishment in my entire life. So I was 16 years old at the time, just allowed to work. I left home at like 14. So I needed a job. There's a whole bunch of shit out. I'm not trying to get into my sob story about being a kid. But when I was like fucking 16, man, he got this job at S&D Marketing, which was a telemarketing company. And they promoted based on performance. So up until the point then, I was a really bad kid. I was really bad. I was running around doing gang shit. I'm not going to incriminate myself on the live, obviously. But I was doing dumb shit. I was involved in the wrong crowds. I was stealing and all kinds of wild shit, right? And then comes S&D Marketing, and Bill's like, "Yo, you're a good talker, blah, blah, blah." I was already rapping at that point. He's like, "You're so good with your words." He's like, "Bro, come get this job, get your working papers, and you'll be able to do it." So I was like, "You know what? Fine, let's do it." I get the job. S&D changed my life. S&D changed who I am as a person, and I would have never been there without him. So it was all performance-based, and I was really good on the phones. We sold everything from like MediaCom to Vonage to fucking just any kind of cable service you could imagine. We did like international surveys in Bermuda. There was a bunch of shit, man. And I was one of the fucking best to ever do it. Straight up. You guys, anyway, that's irrelevant. The point is, I still have relationships with people from S&D Marketing to this day. And they're some of the closest people to me in my entire life. And they will never go anywhere. I would not have any of them if it wasn't for Bill. I would probably be in jail right now if it wasn't for Bill. Bill put me on such a straight and narrow path. This is what I'm telling you, man. I have no idea why he fucking died. It's fucking insane, man. But like, Yeah, I wouldn't have made it past 21 if he didn't, like, with the path that I was going and the dickhead shit that I was doing as a kid. There's no way I would have made it past 21. There's no way. But he did. He got me into S&D, and it set me straight. I ended up getting promoted all the way up to being a project manager by the time I graduated high school. I was running projects for them by the time I graduated high school. That's why my business stuff right now is so tight, is because by the time I graduated high school, everybody else wanted to go to college. The way the college works is it's like, or the way that like businesses work when you go to get a job is it's like you need to either have a degree or equal amount of years experience. And by the time I went to graduate, I already had the equal amount of years experience. So I never bothered going to college, and I just got a big boy job right out the gate, which the big boy job that I got, which was at Alliance One, I also got because fucking Bill went there, and Bill got me the fucking job at Alliance One that I went to after that. This man saved my life in so many fucking ways, I can't even tell you. We would go to the lake. We had a lot of good lake stories. I'll never forget that. We picked up these two chicks, and this was the year that fucking Hot in Here was big, man. Hot in Here was crazy. And this is why I'm such a big fan of Nelly. I got so many memories tied to Nelly songs. It's so wild. I'm like the biggest closet Nelly fan. Like you wouldn't know that because like I don't listen to Southern music and shit like that. But yo, I am like a diehard Nelly fan growing up. I know all those fucking songs by heart, bro. Greed, Hate, Envy was my shit. And so we had getting hot in here, and I can vividly remember us driving around and these bitches just getting butt ass naked while we're driving around to the lake. Then we get to the fucking lake, and like nobody wanted to put clothes on, so we were like, we're going skinny dipping. So now we got the four of us butt ass naked with a loaf of bread, feeding ducks, just fucking standing there. It's probably wild now as an adult, because I had to be fucking. I was probably fucking 18 years old. It's on the live. I was at least 18 years old at the time. But yeah, man, they're just sitting us all standing there, man, fucking butt ass naked, feeding ducks and shit like that. Nelly blasted in the fucking car. We had some fucking insane times, man. Absolutely fucking insanity. And then every time it's getting hot in here went off, like, bro, I can't even tell you the amount of wildness. He got me through a lot of rough times too, man. So like, I've always been an emotional person. For those of you who know me in my personal life who are in here or watch this later on, my only real emotional side has always been relationships. If you guys watch my reactions, you can tell that from reactions. I'm always like, fuck Scorpios, and my fucking heart gets broken, and Joe Budden is fucking God because it got me through, and blah, blah, blah. That shit's been like that forever. So the one chick, Kim, actually even before Kim, so there's this chick, Ray Lynn. It was like my first love, 7/21/02. That's when this was. So 7/21/02, I think I was 14 years old. That was when we were together. And I used to call her Dizzy. And anyway, we broke up and shit, man. When we fucking broke up, I was a mess, brother. I was fucked up. And I was in Bill's house, and I was just like, bro, I was a broken 14-year-old. Heartbreak hit me like a fucking old man married for 25 years. Nothing ever got to me. I was the toughest kid in the world. I come from a broken home. Parents never fucking loved me and shit like that. Gancho did. He's not my biological father, but that's my dad. I love him like a father. Like there is no difference. But I'm saying, like, I never had love biologically. I never had that kind of like connection and shit like that. I was a hard ass kid. And then relationships happen, man. And relationships just beat my ass. I get so fucking attached to women, and I get so fucking heartbroken. Bro, I was destroyed. And he was there for me the whole time, man. He was there for me the whole fucking time, man. I can vividly remember. So first it was Ray Lynn, and I would be fucking crying day in and day out. I miss Dizzy. And I was all fucked up. And then came Kim, the first Kim. There was 3 Kims, which is why there was a weird Eminem connection there too. But so there was like the first Kim that came around. Kim was a bombshell. So Kim was like the first like baddie that I got. And like, I was a fucking baddie. She was a baddie, and I was like, I didn't think I could pull her. Turns out she was actually a hoe. But like, I fucked her, and like, I thought that was the greatest thing in the world, and I was in love, and I was like, I never thought I'd be able to pull this chick. This is like, everyone remembers the first bad chick that they got, right? And I was like, oh, this is the greatest thing in the world, man. And then I found out she banged like 3 other dudes that week. and she didn't even remember my name, who I was, and shit like that. And I can remember Bill trying to like break it to me, man, because he knew he just dealt with the shit with Ray Lynn. He didn't want to have to deal with that stuff again. And so like, bro, so he like sits me down, and he's like trying to like talk me like talk around it and shit like that. I'm down here all fucked up and shit, and like, bro, he's like, yeah, you know what, man, she's not that good looking. I don't know what you see in her. I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, she's gorgeous. You're out of your mind. He's like, nah, man, she's kind of ugly. She got one tit that's bigger than the other. He's like, you don't want a chick that's got lopsided titties. He filled my head with a lot of toxic shit now that I think about it. When I started thinking, I was like, oh yeah, you know, her tits are kind of lopsided, isn't she? She got like one A cup and one C cup. That's a little weird. I didn't understand puberty and shit like that at a young age. I was like, that's kind of weird. And he did that. We talked for like 2 hours. And for like 2 hours, he tried to just convince me over and over again for all these different reasons. I just think it was poison. And then I was like, nah, let's go up there and let's go see them. And he's like, nah, she's getting fucked by some dude Chris right now. She can't go. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Who the fuck is Chris? Bro, I was heartbroken again. And I was there for like 6 months. For like 6 months, I was devastated. You couldn't tell me that I was ever going to get a beautiful chick again. I was like, yo, that was the only hot chick that exists in the world. No other baddie's going to love me. I'm a very emotional teenager. I was, man. And he dealt with all that shit, man. He dealt with all that shit. God bless him. That's fucking wild. When I think about it now, I was mad annoying. Then after that, man, I liked his cousin, I think. I think it was his cousin. Her name was Danielle. I don't think I ever met her, but he showed me pictures of her and shit. This is MySpace days. Jesus Christ. And I'll never forget this. This is so fucking weird. But like, if you guys, like anyone that knows me and shit like that, man, like, I'm a very arrogant and cocky person. Like, I'm one of the most vain people you will ever meet in your entire life. Like, real shit. And I can remember the fucking moment that shit started, man. I can remember the moment that shit started. I was talking about this chick that I liked, and I think it was his cousin Danielle. And I was like, nah, I don't think she's going to like me, like, blah, blah, blah. Like, you understand, like, I came up poor. I never had nice clothes and shit. I was always that kind of, like, mismatched, dressed and shit. Like, I was real self-conscious about it. I went to Catholic school, and, like, all they did was, like, you get fucking teased and fight every fucking day of your life. Like, and it was in the hood, so it was like, bro, you would have to fully understand and appreciate the story. You would have to understand the full circumstances. But anyway, I had very, very low self-esteem. And I remember Bill pulling me aside and he's like, yo, every chick that we've ever hung out with has wanted to date you. Like, knock it the fuck off. She's going to like you. Relax. And that was it. It wasn't like a 300 speech. It wasn't like this crazy anything or nothing like that, man. But I can still remember him saying that to this day and how that made me feel. And I sat back and looked at it too. And I was like, yo, he's right. They all did want to fuck me or date me. I was young. I don't think we, like, whatever. But that was fucking crazy, man. So then fast forward, I guess, a little bit, right? There's a lot of other stories with fucking Vicky and shit like that. There's a lot of stuff, man. I done seen him through some hard fucking times. He went through a bunch of breakups and shit like that. It was a bunch of shit, man. So then fast forward and shit like that. We got into collections together. That was like what Alliance won. So then White Girl Street happens. You guys hear White Girl Street shouted out on every single one of my videos from Joe Budden. And then, so White Girl Street happens, and we start forming this family, man. And this family that we formed is to this day stronger and more reliable than anything else that's in my life. And when White Girl Street started, I'm the one that pulled everybody together. So it started off with me and Bill, and then Sean and Chuck, and then Elijah, and then Elijah brought in Bubbles. And there's not one person that I ever met and shit like that, man, like that has ever not said that Bill was the best of us. I can tell you 1,000,001 reasons why me and my friends are the biggest scumbags in the world. And I can tell you guys stories about us being the biggest scumbags in the world. But I would be really hard pressed to find stories about Bill that doesn't paint him to be like the angel in the group. So anyway, we go and we're all fucking chilling. You can see, like, I just posted like the pictures and shit like that from the White Street parties. And I don't know, man. There's something about his presence where I've never met somebody that didn't love him instantly. And it's weird because he's super introverted, man. He's real introverted. And he's not a normally like party person and shit like that. But when we got together and White Street got together, man, it was just different. It just brought, you seen him glow, man. He had this glow about him when he would get to fucking smiling and laughing and drinking. And it was absolutely fucking insane to look and insane to see, man. Like, I'm an asshole. Like, there's so many people that I've met in my life that don't like me. Like, rightfully so. I'm not even saying that they're wrong. But there's a lot of people that I met in my life that don't like me. There's a lot of people that I rubbed the long way. And if I'm being honest with you, like, if we're going to keep it a buck, I have a very love me or hate me personality. There's not a lot of people that don't have an opinion of me that I know. Like, if you know me, you are like, yo, he's the funniest, coolest dude, period. Or you're like, he's an asshole. Fuck that guy. That's me. That wasn't Bill, man. When Bill was alive, I don't know that I knew a person. Not one person. On my fucking life. On my life. I swear on everything. I cannot think of one person that I've ever met in my life that was like, yo, fuck Bill. That's insane. That is actually insane. How many people do you know that just no one dislikes? That's fucking insane. And they're the ones that fucking... So there's things to deal with that bother me, right? And there's weird shit that bothers me. So, like, I never understood death. Death was never something that I had to deal with. I didn't have any grandparents that I cared about that died. I didn't have any family members that died. I didn't have to go to funerals. I didn't have to do any of that shit. So it wasn't something that I knew how to deal with. It wasn't something that I had a coping mechanism for. And then Bill died. And, like, my best friend in the world dying is the first person that I got introduced to death through. Let that sink in. Like, that's real crazy. I don't... It shouldn't have been him. And it's fucked up to say, and I'm not trying to, like... I don't know. There was just weird shit, man. Like, my brother gets married. And Sean got married. And it was like a big discussion with, like, who's going to be the best man. We got this Waco Street family that we created where we got these non-blood ties, but we are the closest people in the world. I would put my life on the line for every one of my fucking brothers, period. Wouldn't even think twice about it. And when my brother goes to finally get married, the conversation was basically like, who is the best man going to be? And it was like this big debacle. A couple of us got mad at each other and shit like that, playfully. But you know how it is, man. And I never had that issue. I was like, cool, I don't have to make this decision. I don't need to pick, because before everybody there was Bill. Before everybody there was Bill. Bill was going to be the best man at my fucking wedding. Come on. I swear to God I was going to keep myself together for this. Bill's my son's godfather. That was a bad decision in hindsight. Godfather is supposed to be someone that's still going to be there after I die, because I'm the asshole and I'm the dickhead, to make sure that my son's taken care of. And I picked Bill to be my godfather. In hindsight, that was probably not the best idea. The only fucking one of us not here and shit. But, like, yeah, it's the weird shit that gets you, man. It's the weird shit that gets you. Like, pictures. Pictures get me. You know how crazy it is to... All the pictures that exist are the pictures that are going to exist. There's never going to be a new picture of me and Bill. That's insane. My mind won't let me wrap my mind around it. Like, I can't understand that. And something stupid like pictures that get you. Like all the pictures that are just the pictures that are, and there's never going to be anything else. That it blows my mind. I have no idea how to deal with that. I don't know how to deal with it. There's never going to be a different picture. That all the pictures that I've seen at the parties, the pictures that I just uploaded to fucking Instagram, or the picture I just uploaded to Facebook, and then we weren't even huge on pictures, to keep it a buck with you. There's not enough pictures, man. Take more pictures with your friends. Take more pictures with your family, with the people that you love, because there's something that no one prepares you for, man. No one prepares you for there not being any new pictures. How is there never going to be another new picture? I don't know, man. I think about some of the fights and shit like that. Some of the arguments and shit like that are so fucking hilarious. I'll never forget the huge argument over poker night. So me and White Street and shit like that, once a month we get together for a poker tournament. You can check the poker championship bracelet that I have on my wrist for my entire life. And there's like a legit fight that broke out because Bill ate all the fucking bacon pizza. It's stupid shit like that is some of the best memories I got, man. Just a whole bunch of adult men that love each other more than life itself, ready to fist fight over over fucking bacon pizza getting eaten. It's those moments that are so pure, man. It's so pure. There's no agenda. There's no manipulation. There's no ulterior motives. There was just love and fucking bacon. And then I got the call that he was dead one day. I was working. I was doing door-to-door shit, man. And I was in the middle of working this like apartment complex that I wasn't even supposed to be at. And Sharon calls me. And his mom never calls me. His mom never calls me. And his mom calls me and I answered like right away. I was like weird. I was like, hey, are you okay? And she's like, am I okay? She's like, are you okay? I was like, what are you talking about? What's going on? Is Bill okay? And then she just says, Bill's dead. Just like that. And just like that, 1 second somebody's alive and 1 second somebody's dead. Like there was no transition. There was no sick in the hospital. There was no this person, we find out someone has cancer and you get a chance to go and fucking throw parties and celebrate people's lives and get a chance to go make memories. You get a chance to like last meals. There's no last meals. There's no nothing. You just get a call one day. Bill's dead. I didn't react. My initial reaction was I had to be strong for her. I went into panic mode and I was like, are you okay? Like what needs to be done? I don't understand what it is that you're saying to me. Are you delusional? Like what's going on? And I think she was doing the same thing. I think she was in shock. I don't think she had any idea how to react or what to say or how to talk or nothing like that. And we hung up. And I finished my shift. I went back to work. I started knocking on doors. I wasn't conscious. I was completely blacked out. But I was so brainwashed with this entrepreneurism and shit like that Like, what was I going to, like, there was nothing to do. There wasn't go stand by somebody's side at the hospital. There wasn't no nothing. So I finished my shift, and I go back to my office at the end of the night. And at the end of the night, so, like, I ran a whole team and shit like that. I had 12 people that I was responsible for. And I come back at the end of the night, and we're supposed to break the days down and shit like that. And we're supposed to be like, you know what I'm saying? Like, see what we can do to make people better and shit. And then my mentor at the time, his name's AJ. He's like, yo, you seem off. What's going on? And I looked AJ for 2 seconds, and I just, like, my whole face I just start, like, breaking down in front of him. And I'll never forget it. He grabs me by the fucking, like, right here by the fucking collarbone, and he pulls me into a fucking coat room that we had. Because you're not supposed to, your team shouldn't see you break down. You're supposed to be invincible. And that was my persona, right? Like, I was Mr. Untouchable. I'm the most charismatic, happy, untouchable person in the fucking world. You never seen emotion on me. I never got emotional. Nothing ever bothered me. And he pulled me into that fucking coat room, and he just let me fucking die. He just let me die in that coat room. And he just stayed there with me while I worked it all out. That was one of the fucking craziest times of my life. And how do you explain to your boss that your best friend is dead? This is fucking insane, man. It was insane. It was absolutely insane. I can remember some of the, like, best times we had. We would get drunk and do, like, kind of weird karaoke. And we would always do the Weird Al Yankovic American Pie remix to the fucking the fucking, what the fuck is it called? The Star Wars jaunt. My, this here Anakin guy. And there's videos of us just shit-faced singing this fucking song. I don't know how many of the words we ever fucking had, but, bro, we would go the fuck in. That shit was hilarious. That's one of my favorite times in the world. Never forget that. This is a video from me to me. I see that there's people in here watching, and I'm happy to share with you guys and shit like that. But this video is from me to me. Never forget that. Never forget that song and how fucking happy it was when that shit came on and all the fucking wild ass times that we had with that shit. That's a memory I never want to forget. That shit was fucking, yeah. That shit was dope. I love that shit, man. So then comes the funeral too, right? His mom couldn't go to the funeral. She couldn't bring herself to go. And it's these fucking pictures again, man. They had this board up at the funeral place. And it's just fucking pictures of us. And, like, you don't realize how important you are to somebody until you're at their fucking funeral and all the pictures have you in it. You don't realize how important you are to someone until you're at their funeral and 70% of the pictures of this man's life have you in the fucking pictures. Pictures fucking get me, man. Take more pictures with your loved ones. Please, for the love of God, take more fucking pictures. It was different then too, man. Like, we didn't have digital pictures. These were like actual pictures and shit like that. Who got time to go to a CVS? You know what I'm saying? Wild shit, man. So I go to the funeral. His father comes up to me, who he did not have a great relationship with. I've only met him maybe once or twice in the decades that Bill and I were friends. And he's like, hey, I know you from the pictures. I know you from talking to him on the phone. You're the closest person in the world to him, and we want you to talk. He said, we want you to talk. No preparation, no nothing like that. Day of the funeral, I show up to the service, and He's like, we want you to go and get the eulogy. I did it. I did it really well. I kept that shit together really well too, man. I think it was funny. I was blacked out. There's no way. I can't remember. I couldn't tell you what the fuck the eulogy was. I couldn't tell you one thing that I said during the fucking eulogy. But it was good. I seen a lot of people cry. People started hugging each other and shit while I was talking, which makes me feel like we got the right message across. You want to elicit emotion at somebody's funeral, right? You want to celebrate their life and talk about the good times and shit like that. It's funny because we always talk about, like, I'm supposed to be the first one to die in my friends, right? I'm the one that's always been suicidal. I'm the one that's always been reckless and crazy. I'm the one that's always like, I'm the asshole. It was always supposed to be me to go first. And we always kind of had this agreement with each other that we weren't going to lie at our funerals. Like, no one better talk at my funeral and be like, he was such a good guy. He loved everyone. Like, I will come down and haunt a motherfucker if I find any of that shit being said when I die, man. Keep it a buck at my funeral. Keep it a buck. And I'm thinking about that while I'm up there giving this speech. And I do. I keep it a buck. And I couldn't think of one fucking negative thing to say about this man. I just went back all these memories. I'm like really sitting here trying to go through everything so that I can keep this all in one video. And my biggest complaint that I have about this man is when I was 12 years old, he lied about a video game that he played. You know how fucking insane that is? That's wild. How do you spend 2 decades with somebody and your biggest complaint is lying about a save data on a video game when you were children? That's fucking insane. That's insane. And then fucking poker was wild, man. So we do this poker night every single month. White Girl Street gets together and we have this poker night. And then one day there's just this empty seat there, man. There's no sadder picture than a fucking empty seat at a poker table that used to have your best friend, that used to have your best man, your son's godfather. And now there's an empty fucking seat there, man. There's nothing that can prepare you for that, man. That's fucking wild. We did the thing. We did the poker night in his honor. We do an extra shot and stuff like that in his memory. We smoke a cigar. What are you supposed to do? Life doesn't stand still for nobody. You know what I mean? It's so callous. Life is callous. It doesn't matter what you do or how important you are. One day you're a fucking headline, and then the next month, maybe your friends do a shot in your honor. It's insane, man. Death is wild. I still don't know what to do. I still haven't figured out, like, when people have people that die for them, I don't have like good advice and shit like that. I was hoping that by me having the closest person in the fucking world to me pass away, I was hoping that like it would somehow make me better equipped to help other people. That I would be able to, because I lost the person closest to me in the world, that I would be better equipped to give somebody advice. But nothing fucking helps, man. Nothing helps. I talk to a lot of people who are smarter than I am, who've dealt with this shit. No advice that anybody ever fucking gives you makes it better. Just time, I guess, right? Just time. We do the pleasantries and shit like that. We'll reach out to each other. If you need anything, hit me up. What does that mean? Could you do less? Like what does that mean? If you need anything. Unless you know fucking necromancy, this shit ain't gonna fucking work. Ah. So yeah, so I don't have a good answer for that. I'm not good with dealing with death still. Yesterday was his birthday. And I was going to do this on his birthday, but I kept it together really good yesterday. And I was like, you know what? I don't think it's necessary to do this today. And then today, I just wasn't doing too good. I wasn't keeping it together good today. And I couldn't figure out why. Something was off in my chakra. I was tweeting, for those of you who follow me on Twitter. I was just like, dumb shit gets on my nerves. My energy's been off and shit like that. And I just figured it has to be this, right? It had to be this. I have this whole YouTube persona and platform now. I would be remiss not to do something to immortalize one of the closest people that's ever walked this fucking earth. And there's a lot of other stories that have been coming to my mind that's just not necessary. Just not necessary to tell. They're not ones that need to be immortalized. We did a lot of wild shit, especially when we were younger, man. I love this man. That's it. I think that's it. I think that's all I want to say. It doesn't get easier. And I'm sorry that I don't have better advice for you. If you guys seen the title of this as a rest in peace, John, and like you were expecting some type of good advice, that's not what this was for me. This is, I want there to be a video where this all gets put out for me when I need to remember. That's what this is. This is just a little message for myself, man. Remember the good times, man. Like, I owe so much of my fucking life to this man. I would have died in the fucking streets doing thug shit decades ago, man. Decade and a half. Not that old. He really did. He pulled me out of doing dickhead shit. He got me in the business. I run successful businesses and shit like that now. I've got a lot of accolades and shit like that I've done. I don't like talking about my personal work and shit like that because I don't know how many of you crazy motherfuckers are going to come stalk me and shoot me in the head or some shit because I don't like your favorite rapper's bars. But, like, everything that I have, it's like this weird 6 degrees of separation. It's like everything good that I have in my life, I can trace back and credit it to one person who died because they really like Mountain Dew and pizza. Like, what the fuck is that? I don't know, man. Some gangster shit, though, apparently. So he died of a heart attack. But apparently, as he was having the heart attack, apparently he was like, he was out with some bitch that he met. We didn't know her. I have no idea who this bitch is. We're older now. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're older. We all had our own lives. We get together once a month for fucking poker and shit like that. It's just the way that life is. So we had some new chick. I think she was a stripper, if I'm being completely honest with you. That's what the word on the street was, is that he got involved with some stripper chick. And they were out having a good time. He drops her off, and he's going home. And then on his way home, he starts feeling himself. He has a heart attack on the way home. And then this motherfucker drove himself to the hospital. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. Be having a fucking heart attack, drive yourself to the fucking hospital, walk into the hospital like, excuse me, sir. One, please. And then apparently they were like preparing him to go someplace else and he died in transit. And I got called the next day or some shit. I don't know what fucking day everything was. It's all blur, man. It is. It's all blur. Your brain is fucking weird. I feel like there's so much stuff that needs to be on here that doesn't come out because your mind won't let you get too sad. Or your mind will only let you remember shit that goes so fucking poorly. It's like we got these boxes in our head that stop us from doing dumb shit. I read that someplace when I was a kid. They're like, you can't stab yourself to death. They're like, if you have a knife, like your body won't let you stab yourself with a knife or some shit like that. And like if you go to like try and drown yourself, like your body will just like you'll go unconscious and your body will come up and stop you from killing yourself. I think it's the same thing with like bad memories and shit. I feel like your brain will only let you recall so much negativity before it starts blocking shit out and stuff like that. I had way better taste in music than he did. He would have hated this channel, man. He listened to the same 10 fucking Breaking Benjamin songs for 10 years, man. Is there anything else that I want to say? Is there anything else that I need to fucking go over with this? I don't think there is. I don't know if this was helpful. I don't know if I recommend that you do it. I'm glad I did. I'm glad I did so I can stop thinking about doing it. And now it's there. I have no idea who my best man is going to be if I ever get married. That's wild. That's it, man. I love him with my whole fucking heart. He is definitely missed amongst all of Michael Street and our family. And yeah, man, that's it. I see you guys in here, man. I've been reading this shit. Jay, you're a fool. I love you. I love you so much, man. He said Stogie gonna be my best man. Stogie probably would be my best man too if I asked him. That's wild. Yeah, man. I appreciate you. I don't know why you guys are in here, but I love you guys for being here. If you guys have suffered loss yourself, hopefully this helps you in some type of way. I didn't mean to ignore you guys and shit like that. Bags, I love you too. This was just about me, so I didn't really feel like interacting and shit like that. But I read all the stuff. You guys are awesome.